So I guess, Tom, if you want to introduce yourself, introduce your talk a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So today I'm gonna talk about how I did to stop paying fines for my car in Paris, because I used to pay a lot of fines last year, and I was bored of it. So I just like coded like some kind of a robot to stop having to pay those fines. So I will show you how I did, like from the very first script to a more advanced thing. And so yeah, if it's okay, I'm gonna start sharing my screen to show you the.
That'd be great.
Yep. It says that I cannot share my screen, so I just need to allow it.
Yeah, Richard, you're muted, and you probably just need to make Tom the co-host or the host.
Yes. Sorry for this.
Yeah, Tom, we've had some problems with Zoom bombers in the past, where people come in and they share their screen, and it's been very interesting.
Okay, so you are now co-host, Tom.
All right. Yes, definitely. Okay. So do you see my screen?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Perfect. All right. How can I make it this big? All right. So what we're gonna talk about today, so a brief summary. I will just like shortly introduce myself, then I will tell you why I did what I did, then I will tell you how I did what I did, and then what I learned doing it. So who am I? So I was living in New York 2 years ago for 2 years. I'm a race developer for only 2 years now, because before that, so before in New York, basically, I was working as an accountant, and I was an accountant from the beginning of my career. And I learned to code 2 years ago to stop doing, at the beginning, it was to stop doing like boring stuff at work, because I was doing a lot of boring stuff at work, and I started to find ways to automate things, and I was like broke because I didn't know how to code, so I decided to learn how to code. And I've like fell in love with Ruby since then. I just did a 2-month bootcamp in Paris, and since then I found a job, and I'm working as a race developer like for 2 years now. So the transition went super fast for me, and I never stopped coding since then. So that's all about me. Why did I coded something to stop paying fines? The story is in Paris, you can park your car in the street. It's very cheap, but the trick is you cannot. You can take a ticket for 6 days. It costs you €9. So definitely per month, it's like unbeatable compared to a parking in a building or something. But you have to take a ticket for 6 days upward only. You cannot renew your ticket before the current ticket has ended. So basically what was happening is like I had my tickets ending at 9:30 in the morning. At 9:30, I was like in a meeting. So I was out of my meeting at 10, but the car just was like 30 minutes in the street without a ticket. So I was having a fine all the time. And it's you can have 2 fines a day of €50. So it's €100 a day. So it's very, very, very expensive. And the picture on the left, it's like a month of fine I received at home. Like really, it's really Paris, they don't want good to car. Actually, they want to kill them all. So this is the story. And how did I ended my problem? So I will show you how I did. Like, the first time I built a proof of concept. Then I saw it was working. So gradually I improved the code to have something like working pretty well. So in the first step, it was at Christmas. I was very bored about all those fines. So I wanted to find a way to always have a ticket. Because as it is super cheap to have a ticket, it's only €9 a month. I prefer to have a ticket all the time, even if my car is not in the street, because it's cheap, and then I'm peace of mind. So what I did, I took my computer and I reproduced the flow on my Chrome browser, and I copy pasted with the DevTools all the requests that were going to the API of the application that is doing the parking stuff. So I copy pasted all the query. I used Postman to translate the curl into a net HTTP. It's a very, very easy way of doing it. And I replicated the flow one step at a time. And I was replaying this flow like every minute, just to be sure that I always had a ticket. If I didn't have a ticket, I was renewing it. So it was very, very easy. Just to show you a little bit of code. So I basically instrumentized my queries into a class that I was called Pay by Phone. And so with all the queries as a net HTTP. And then I was checking if my vehicle was covered. And if not, I was asking for a new ticket. And I was doing that every minute, every day, because it was a very proof of concept. It was working, but it was super, super slow, because for one flow, it was 10 requests, because you had to query what rate options are available in the area, if you have a ticket, what vehicles do you have in the application. So it was a lot of queries that I was doing all the time. So there was many unuseful queries and no persistence except from the logs that I was just putting logs in a text file on my server. But it was working, so I was confident. I knew that I would those fines. It was back no more fines now. So from there, I started to code what I will call a V0, something a little more advanced. So what I did is I created a gem, and to everyone I recommend. It's super easy. I didn't realize that it was that easy to build a gem. So in Paris, there is several applications on which you can take your tickets. So I found the gem a little bit like Active Record. You have one gem to as a wrapper of all the other application. And so I built this gem. It's on Revit Gem now. So at work, you have all the queries into one class, an adapter that will, from the queries, standardize the API, and the gem that wraps everything. And this way, you have universal methods across the different applications. You can call the vehicles, you can call the rate options, payment methods, everything. It's as you said on my screenshots, it's exactly like Active Record. You can call vehicles, and it doesn't matter which app you're using, it will return a list of vehicles. So I built this gem, and then I built a script, which was pretty simple, but way much more efficient than the previous one that I talked about. So how did it work? It was starting by checking if I had a ticket for my car in a SQLite database. If I had one, I was all right. I didn't do anything. Then if I didn't have any ticket in my database, I was checking on the application if I had a ticket on their side. If I had one, I was saving it in my database. So next iteration, I won't do anything. If I didn't have any, if they didn't have any ticket for my car on their side, I was asking for a new one. So at the end, I was only asking a new ticket when it was important. So this is a script, and so how it worked. It was super interesting to build this because you realize like you can do so many things without like the whole Rails. I mean, I used some Rails library, but very easily I built my script and I was saving things in the SQLite database, and I was putting things in the logger. So this was working actually super well, and it worked like this for a few months. I was like not worrying about my car anymore because there were always a ticket, and I stopped receiving fines. Right, as soon as I deployed the thing, I stopped receiving fine. So this worked super well. So the pros of this V0 says there were no more unuseful queries. There were some persistent because I had the database, but it was hard to install. It worked only for one car, and it doesn't scale at all because you had to manually run the script with a cron job on a server. So it was like just working for me, but as I was sure that there were a lot of people in my case, I wanted to share it. So what I did actually with this gem, with everything, I ended up, and this, I will start there. So I built like a whole real Rails application where I have my models, and I just launched it a month ago now. And as we speak, like the application is taking 800 tickets for everyone, for a lot of people in Paris as we speak. So yes, this is like the first step of my process. Once I have battle tested everything before, I ended up like wrapping everything I learned into this Rails app. And so what I did learn during like this whole process, because I think it's interesting to share it, it's doing things step by step. It's better to understand the whole picture. I mean, if I had to build directly the Rails app in the first place, I think I would have missed a lot of edge cases and everything. A second point is like there is more Ruby than there is Rails. Because I'm working with Rails every day, all day, and it felt really, really good to build like Ruby things to go back to the basics, and it felt really good. Another good thing is I recommend having side projects. Even like for me, I'm a pretty beginner, so I've only been coding for 2 years. And with this side project, I mean, I have the opportunity to discover many things. I had to set up GitHub Actions to deploy my stuff in on Doku. I set up some monitoring with New Relic to check my logs. I have to deploy a staging environment. I set up Docker. I set up a billing thing with ChargeBee. So it's many things that in your daily job you cannot see. A good learning as well is I used Sorbet, so the typing thing in Ruby, and it's super cool, but I will go back to this later. And I don't know what kind of Ruby job are you doing, but I'm working in a classic like Rails backend API with a React frontend thing, like classic. And for this project, I went back to the Rails in full stack mode, so with HTML and RB and everything, and it felt really good. I mean, I went so fast. The first version of the Rails app went out in two weeks, so it was super easy. And about the bad points, it's not a good idea to have to use a public API for private use, because I mean, if they change anything, I'm dead. In the first place, I had my gem as a core feature of my app. So every time my app needed something from my gem, I had to change the gem, upgrade the gem, bump the thing back into my app. It was actually annoying. So as we speak now, I'm not using the gem anymore. I take the gem back into my code. And I said sorbet was amazing, but in the same time, sorbet's a little bit annoying, because at the end of the day, it means so much more code to write. So when I'm using it, I think it's annoying, but when I'm not using it, I missed it. So I'm not yet decided about sorbet. So that's actually all from me. I don't know if you have any question. Don't hesitate. If you saw things, don't hesitate to tell me. As I said, I'm just been coding for 2 years, so I'm really like, I would be happy to share if you have a thing to say on my thing. So yeah, that's all for me. Thank you
Very
for your
cool.
attention. And
Awesome.
yes.
Really cool, man. Can you?
Yeah, it was super interesting, like to wrap everything into one project, like from the very beginning to the end. It was super cool.
Can you refresh what you said about how you discovered the non-public API? I missed that detail.
Yeah, actually, so my robot, how it's working. So it's not really scrapping, because I mean I'm replicating like the API request that the website is doing to their server, but it just like copy paste from a curl thing. I mean, I do not have the specs of the API I'm using because I do not own it and they don't want to share it. So I rely heavily on it. And if they change anything, any header, anything, actually, the format and the response and everything. So my thing is not working like from a blink. It will be dead. So I have to put a lot of safeguard to be informed of that very soon. But it's a little bit dangerous. It's working like super nicely right now, but it can stop anytime.
So it was just a matter of using their website to discover the public API.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I was using the
private
API. I mean, it's a public API in the sense that anyone can query it, but it's not meant to be publicly queried. So I don't know if it's a public operated one.
So how does the enforcement work? Do they go around and scan like the sticker in the window, and then that's tied to the the infrastructure to find out if you have an active ticket?
No.
Enforcement, or is it just all automatic?
No, it's almost automatic. This is how it's very dangerous. You know, they have like cars with a camera on top of it, and they scan the whole street, and if from your license plate they see if they have a record on it, and if they don't find a record, you have a fine. And they have these cars, they have scooters, they have people on the street all day. So you cannot be lucky, actually. If you don't have a ticket on your car, you will have a fine.
But is it a physical ticket or it's an electronic ticket? It's just
no, it's an
associated with your
electronic
license,
ticket.
right?
Yeah, it's
That's
an
what you mean.
electronic
It's
ticket.
okay, just
Yeah.
language detail.
Yeah,
Very,
exactly.
that's really cool, man. This is a great solution to that problem. It's kind of sophisticated that they have that kind of system in Paris. I mean, in New York, the ticketing agents, they're very difficult. I was parked one day and trying to figure out where I could put my car. I got out of it to ask the ticket person, like, is it okay if I put my car here? He just told me to move it. And I was trying to ask them a question, and the other ticket agent got out of the vehicle and just wrote me a ticket because I didn't move my car instantly. It's very parking in New York is very difficult.
Yeah, it's super difficult in Paris as well. But actually, the point is, in Paris, there is no more like a ticket person. It's only those cars and scooters. So you have way much more chances to have a fine than if it was like guys in the street like writing fines. In the there is some part in Paris that it's still this ticket person that is doing it, and it's not that my robot is not that useful in those areas because you have more time to think about renewing your ticket.
Just thinking about like the private API that you found and how it could change out from under you at any time. And if it does, you could get a ticket. It reminds me of like, have any of you guys worked with VCR in your tests with Ruby? I used to use that back in the day.
Yeah, I do use API VCR, but this is another bad point about using this kind of API. I cannot really use it in my test because there is no sandbox. If you ask for a ticket, you'll be like you will have to pay for it. So I have to be like very careful when I do my tests. I use VCR a lot, but I cannot. There is some endpoints that I cannot test because it's a real endpoint.
Yeah, it's interesting. You'd have to record your VCR cassette when you actually were looking to pay for parking.
Exactly. So what I was doing in my spec, it was like I was putting my real credential, my real passport, my real username, recording everything, and then I was changing everything again in the VCR body and everything to anonymize it. It was not easy, but it's working well. I mean, it's been working for 6 months now, and they never changed anything. So I'm just crossing the fingers and hope it will stay like this for some time.
I guess you'll know, like, once you use it to try to automatically pay something, like if for some reason it were to fail, you could have it text you or something with Twilio.
Yeah, this is already the case. I mean, if there is any error, I will receive a notification on Discord, like right now. So,
nice.
But still, I have to be close to my computer to fix anything. So it won't be good if they change something. I mean, it will ask some time. I don't know if you have any more question.
So you're charging a subscription fee, so you have ChargeBee there.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice, man.
Yeah, actually, right now I have 80 customer in just a month. I'm super surprised. It went super fast. So
word of mouth,
I mean,
or did you try to market it?
It's €5 for scooters. Yes, because on Paris there is another funny stuff. When you have an electric scooter, it's free you can park in the street for free, but you have to take a free ticket on the app. So, and you have to take a free ticket on each neighborhood you're in. So basically, like each time you take your scooter, you park it somewhere, you have to go on the application and take this free ticket that is for 1 day. So basically with my thing, you can have a ticket in every neighborhood, like every day, all the time. So this is what interests people the most. And it's 5 euros for electric scooter and then euros for cars like me. So on 80 clients, I have, I guess, 70 electric scooter and 10 cars.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Do Not Pay in the States. Like, so he was specifically arguing parking tickets. So, you know, yours is more preventative, and he was, you know, trying to dispute the parking tickets once he got them by using technicalities in the laws, and using AI to do it, raised a bunch of money and made a bit of a scandal here in the States by offering to, you know, support any lawyer who, you know, would basically use his AI actually to argue before the Supreme Court with like a Cyrano de Bergerac, like little earpiece where the AI would tell him which arguments to make, and which is a terrible idea. But he, you know, it became a pretty big company. They raised a bunch of money.
Interesting. Yeah. Right.
I hadn't heard of them before. Is that so they're still, how did that controversy all turn out? Is it
so it was a publicity stunt, and he's since kind of backed off on it. But Legal Eagle, who I follow, has like 1 million followers, was talking about like what a terrible idea this was. And there was another, very separately in the news, some lawyer used ChatGPT and might get disbarred from it. It's making waves here in the States. But here's Do Not Pay It. They raised 28 million. So your US counterparts, Tom, raised 28 million US dollars. So you might have a bright future with this.
I hope. I will let you know. I have nothing to see with it, but I just discovered the Arc browser. Does anyone of you using it? Like this is a browser.
I have heard of it. I have actually seen it. A good friend uses it, but I have not yet.
Actually, this is quite amazing. Huh? I changed and never used Chrome again. Like, it's really, really cool.
Have you seen any, is your machine running any slower now that you have Arc installed? I've seen people use it too, but I've also heard complaints that people have seen like major slowdowns in their computer after installing it.
No, actually, it's fine.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm curious to try it.
Yeah, really, it's really nice to use. Right. I just like to stop sharing my screen now. So yeah, I don't know if you have any question on the talk, or we're good. Let me know.
Did I see that you have like a local, like the app running? Can you show that off real quick?
Can you say it again?
Do you have like a demo of the app itself?
Yeah. I will start a local actually, because I'm just like doing a lot of things, so it might not work.
That's fine.
But yeah, but I will show you like the plot thing. So yeah, this is actually it. So here you can like, this is what I told you. It's an electric scooter, and the guy want to be covered in like the third, fourth, fifth, eighth, 15th, 16th, 17th neighborhood. So he can go and park anytime over there. He's safe. So it's actually super easy to create a new one. I mean, it's just a few states to complete. Yeah, it's really easy. And this way, by doing it, it will be in a few moments. He will be covered. He will have a ticket on his scooter, and yeah, so it's actually super easy. But doing it, like coding it, I realized that user experience was like super hard, because for me the flow was hyper easy, and I had so many users that I was struggling with it. So it was a very good learning as well. It's like you really need to do some things that a baby could do, because
how did you get that feedback? I guess was it like by word of mouth, or were you like, did you have like a, I don't know, like a form submission? Like
I set up this. It's called Crisp. It's a free CRM, so anyone can talk to us anytime. And at first, before I launched it officially, I just like went in the streets to find like 10 users, and for them it will be free forever. And with those guys, we did a lot of testing, like what did you find? Did you find the flow easy? What would you like to have more, and everything? But most of the feedback I have it's from the Crisp thing. It's free, and you receive the answer. Like you have an application on your phone and you receive everything. So anytime someone had an issue, I was receiving a notification, and I was able to help him. So this was actually most of the time. The application is live for a month, and I spent the last month like reworking the onboarding flow, like the just few steps that I showed you a moment ago. There's so many little things that I thought it was easy, but it was like super tough actually. It's crazy, like in a few steps. Yeah, I mean, like before, for example, you could not go back to the before step, because I'm using I had to build a wizard, but it's a clever wizard in the sense of in some cases, for example, right now I choose an electric scooter.
Yep.
And the next step, it's all the possible vehicles that are registered on your application. So right now, even if there is only one vehicle, I ask you if to confirm. But in the previous version, for example, if I found that there were only one possible vehicle, I was like skipping the step, just like auto-completing it with my wizard.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of steps like this, and it was super hard to go back, because when you were on a step, you could not know for sure which was the previous one, because the previous one might have been skipped by the wizard.
Yeah.
So I built a clever wizard, but I mean, right now it's working super well, but it was stuff like the onboarding, like all the different steps. It was tough to make it work, like in one side, in another side, to reset the steps and everything. And now, right now it's working. There were cases as well. For example, before here, if you choose an electric scooter and you had no car, no electric scooter in your vehicles, you were like locked in this window because there were no going back, nothing. So I had to think about all the use cases, all the possible use cases. So yeah, a lot of
That's pretty cool.
things to think about. But it's working super well now. I'm really, really happy. Yeah. And it's crazy to see how many people are interested in it.
So can a person have like multiple vehicles and scooters?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we go to the, I don't have access to the top of my screen. With the Zoom thing. So yeah, actually here it's an electric scooter of my friend. So I'm doing all my tests on it. And here, normally, here it's my car. Okay. So here, it's my car, it's his electric scooter. So you can have only one app and to cover all your vehicles if you have many. But yeah, for example, a few weeks ago, I had a call with the owner of Domino's Pizza restaurant. So he has like 10 of electric scooter, and he's struggling so bad every morning to take tickets for all these scooters. So it was really, really interesting in having something like this because he could have like automatic ticket for every scooters and stop wasting times to take it manually.
Oh yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. I'm really like looking forward to have news from this guy because
you make a new level. You need to make like a business level now.
Yeah. Actually, this was a good question, but I need a business level, but I don't know what I could add to a business level. I mean, the thing is doing it about some like reporting or a thing like this. But yeah, I need to think about it.
Yeah.
And you see, like I just requested this ticket and now it's covered. So there is a ticket for this zip code now. So my thing is working.
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, it was super cool. So I used a lot of Hotwire and everything, all the last race feature, and it felt so good to do it. It went super, super well.
What's the URL?
Huh?
Sorry, Oscar. Just when you get a chance, can you post the URL to the site? The address, the web address?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I tried a few different things, but I didn't try EU, which I should have.
Yeah. And the funny story, it's called Pervenche because in France, historically, the ticket guys, it used to be in many cases ladies, and they were called like the Pervenche because they had a blue uniform, and Pervenche it's a flower, a blue flower. Yeah. So yeah, this is a little. So yeah, but now I mean, it's funny because when I started the thing, I was thinking like it would take me very, very short amount of time to finish it. And right now, with everything that I want to add, I mean, I think it will take me forever. Right now I want to add like a user dashboard, because the funny thing is right now there are people are paying for it, but I still did not like coded the unsubscribe button, So people are like subscribed, they gave me their credit card, but they cannot unsubscribe right now. I mean, it just an email and yeah, but there's so many things to do. Actually, I didn't realize it was that big before I start. But I never had any customer complaints, so for now it's okay. It's in my to-do list, but I have a thing before. Yeah.
Is this approach used throughout France, or is it specific to Paris? How is it
no,
an
it's
EU thing, or is it widespread? Can you market this beyond Paris?
I can definitely market it beyond Paris. Theoretically, there is the application that I'm like wrapping. It's the same in different like in big cities. So there is no reason for this not to work in other cities, but as I am not there, I cannot really launch it. But if I found someone that have a car and on which I can do tests, because as I said, I cannot. I need to test on real cars, on real tickets to be sure. But yeah, there's definitely no reason for it to not work on other cities than Paris. It's in my to-do list as well.
In New York City, they recently, I think they've converted all of the paid parking now, at least in the areas I'm familiar with, to you use an app on a phone. There's a couple, I guess there's a couple of vendors who have been given the API. And
yeah,
you never have to go to your car anymore. Like it used in the old days, you would print a ticket and you had to go back to the machine and print another physical ticket. And so that ended about a year and a half or 2 years ago. I don't know the exact time. But so this would be applicable even to, to cities like New York, if you had access to, figured out that internal API, because the same problem, you have to remember to, go.
Yeah.
It's not exactly the same problem because I think you can refill your ticket at any time. But here, like the situation is different. It's not 6 days. We're talking like, you get an hour, 2 hours or whatever. But the tickets are very expensive if you don't refill, the meter.
It's super expensive. So yeah, because I guess it's something that you don't need if you are like an organized people, but for me, I mean, even if there is a reminder of my phone, I can miss it. So I had to have something more reliable than a simple reminder.
I'm convinced that all of the parking regs in New York City are designed to just separate people from as much of their money as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But when you see in Paris, for example, like, I mean, the feature of having a ticket renewing automatically, it's the vendors that are proposing the application. I mean, it's a super easy feature. But from what I think, but it's really a guess. It just like it's Paris that they told them, okay, you can deal with the parking thing, but just don't let them renew automatically, because otherwise I will lose so much money because they won't have fines anymore. Because it's I mean, it's an easy thing, and I don't know why any of the 4 applications, none of them, they are proposing it to the users. So I think it's just a way to have to take more money from users. Yes.
In New York City, during COVID, so we have this thing called alternate side parking here in the city, and if you have a car, you have to move it twice a week. And so during COVID, because of health reasons, because of the pandemic, they decided, hey, you only have to move your car once a week, so we're gonna cancel one of those days. And then as soon as COVID, and the reason given for the 2 days is because we need to do this to keep the streets clean. And so, we were fine for like whatever, a year and a half or however long that was in effect. But now it's back to 2 days. It's it's just another example of the same thing.
Twice a week, it's a lot. For me, for example, it's super easy. It's because my car, I have a car in Paris, but I'm not using it. I'm just using it a few times a month, so it barely moves. So hopefully it's not like this in Paris. I mean, you can have your car for a month on the same spot. You won't have any issue. Even if it's not supposed to be the case, you cannot. On the papers, you're not allowed to park your car for more than 6 days in a row, the same spot, but they're not really applying it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like any worry about like, I guess, like the city enforcing that rule through your app, right? Because like there's no like fact that says, oh, you've been here over 6 days or something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really worried because everything I did, I know it can be stopped anytime. You know, it's not like if I had very big plans for my website and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. I I definitely know that this can stop. Like maybe tomorrow they will have changed anything and this will stop. So I'm not really worried, but yeah, for sure I'm thinking about it. But
Cool.
yeah. But yeah, actually, I hope they won't do anything because the piece in my mind it's so big since I don't have to worry about my car. Like I just don't want to leave that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, like last year, I left in holiday, so I left the car in the street for 2 weeks, and I had my 6-day ticket covering the first week, and I was like super disconnected in my holiday. I just forget to renew the thing. And when I went back from holiday, I had a whole week uncovered, and it was awful. So I don't want to leave that again.
Yeah, that was quite a wallpaper collection you showed at the beginning of your talk. The picture of all the tickets.
Yeah. Yeah, this picture was actually like my when I was back from those holidays. It was pretty sad to see all those fines. Yeah. I don't know if you had any more questions or.
Are you using Ruby on any other projects, or is this like the one thing that was like on your mind and like, oh, I'm gonna use it on this?
No, actually, I'm using Ruby for anything. I'm really like all the time. Anytime I have an issue, like something boring, something I will start to code thing to start like to find a solution and to build a simple Ruby script. Like basically, I always had some side projects. Like since I finished the bootcamp 2 years ago, I always had a side project on top of my daily job. It's really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you all have like do you have side projects or you don't have any more? Much?
Yeah, I'm always like learning, but I've never like had like something I feel like is done or like
Yeah. Yeah, but
it's
this
more
was
like
the point. Yeah.
yeah, I'm always like I feel like I'm always learning
Yeah.
and never like truly like making, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
relate to that.
Yeah. Like before this project, it was only like tries. I wanted to try this new stack. I wanted to try this new gem. So I was like studying things, never ending any of it. And it was very the first one that from the beginning to the end, and now I have users and everything. But all the other project was just like some code to see how thing was working, but was the first one that I really finished.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
Something that you use, I think, is, you know, a great motivator. And then as soon as you started releasing it to people, it must have been even more motivating to, get it to be better. So that's really cool. I have a lot of abandoned side projects.
I had so many before this one, but the point is, when you have like real users, it's a little bit stressful, huh? Because they'll talk to you anytime with the application, and as soon as you receive an email, you are like, oh man, wow, what's happening? I need to find I need to fix this. So it's really like motivating, but it comes with a lot of stress in a sense. But it's cool.
That's a free, or do you pay for Crisp, or how much does that cost you? Or is that
no, for now Crisp is free. I mean, I had in the trial period like a few weeks ago, but I didn't see any changes. I guess yes, there is some features that they propose that I do not use, but for now it's free. I think there is a volume limit, but for now it's free, and it's super easy to set up. It's just a bunch of header to put in your HTML, and it's there, and it's working super well.
Nice. Yeah. Well, if no one has, are there any more questions for Tom?
No, I can't really think of. I guess, how do we stay in touch?
But yeah, your contact information would be cool if you want to share it.
Sure. I will show you anything. So you have my GitHub and LinkedIn.
I'm assuming crisp.chat is the URL for Crisp.
Well, yeah, I will share you the website. Oh no. I will give you my name. And Crisp, it's this. Yeah. And really, it was super easy to implement, so I really recommend it. Yeah, very
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Well, I wish you luck in your first round of funding. I think it's a lot of fun seeing how you put that together. Really enjoyed the talk. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a great evening, and I will go to bed now because it's 1 a.m. now at my place. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Take care.